Now I'm going to walk you through using GIST in a paragraph or two from an article on the brain about insights. At the very top of the screen, you'll notice what are called the guiding questions. These help prepare your brain for reading a particular selection. They let you know exactly what information is important and what you should be looking for. These are in the form of a question for a very specific reason. When you have topics in front of you, you may not do anything active with them. If you have a set of questions in front of you, it helps you because it establishes your purpose for reading. You know why you're here on this page and what your goals are. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to read the paragraph first and let you sort of soak it up, and then I'm going to go through the steps and explain step by step what I'm doing as I use GIST. The value of creating insights. Discovering a solution means that an employee is either using the standard process of analysis and accessing known data, or is experiencing an insight. Insights, aha or eureka moments, come from the ability of the brain to access multiple regions throughout the entire brain where the information lies and put this information together differently to create a new solution. So the author first off tells me that discovering a solution means something. I'm going to make a guess here that discovering a solution has something to do with insights, because why would the author mention this first? It seems like it would be pretty important. So I'm going to label discovering a solution as part of my what, and I'm going to highlight that yellow. In this next little part, I recognize the signal words either or. That tells me that the author is doing some kind of comparing or contrasting here, and I'm trying to figure out what discovering a solution means. So it means that an employee is either using the standard process of analysis and accessing known data, or is experiencing an insight. That's what we're focusing on. That's my topic. So I can get rid of the first part of that because I don't need to know about the standard process of analysis. What I'm looking for is information on experiencing an insight. And don't be overwhelmed by all the symbols that I'm using. The key ideas will show up with a key. The two circles I just placed at the top represent that I recognized a certain text structure, which was comparison contrast, and the red X with the U tells me that I deleted something because it was unnecessary in terms of finding the main idea. The last thing is the capital T over experiencing an insight. That's just a recognition that that's part of my topic. Insights, aha or eureka moments. Alright, first of all, the word insight coming up again is a repeated reference, which lets me know that it's important, although I already knew that because insights is part of my topic. But I deleted it because it was repetitious. I don't need the word when I'm collecting words for my final main idea or summary. I don't need to collect the same word twice, so I deleted that as repetitious. Then I kept aha moment. Just because it's a restatement of what an insight is. I don't know if I'm going to need it later on, but it does. I've heard of aha moment before, so I kept that as a way to sort of remind myself, well, what is an insight? Well, the first thing I know about it is that it's an aha moment. So these moments come from the ability of the brain to access multiple regions throughout the entire brain where the information lies and put this information together differently. This is kind of like the pay dirt of this paragraph for me because it's giving me my key idea, how. I know now we've got discovering a solution, experiencing an insight. Now we know how that happens. It's the ability of the brain to access multiple regions and to put this information together differently. So I highlighted that and labeled it as my key idea for how. Then at the very end it says to create a new solution, but we've already mentioned finding solutions, so I deleted that as repetitious. Now that we've made it through the first paragraph, I'm still staying tuned in to my guiding questions. The ones that apply so far are what is an insight and how do they occur in the brain. So what we have collected from the paragraph are key ideas: discovering a solution, experiencing an insight, aha moment, and then The brain accessing multiple regions in order to put information together differently. So now what I have to do is kind of boil that down into 1 or 2 sentences to capture what has transpired in this paragraph in terms of my guiding questions. The GIST strategy requires you to use 20 words or fewer when creating your summary. And I don't know if they came up with this random number just to torture us, but it's a way to let you know that you need to condense and use as few words as possible so that you can be clear and concise. So we're going to try to do this based on what we have so far. I'm going to start with my topic itself, which is an insight. So I'm going to start with an insight is an aha moment that helps you discover solutions. Wow, 20 words goes by quickly. Let me rephrase. An insight or aha moment helps you discover solutions by using your whole brain and putting information together differently. There, I've covered all the key ideas I've found so far. I put them in as few words as possible, fewer than 20, and now I'm ready to move on.